Shanquella Robinson's passing was pre-planned according to new video.
For them to do what they did, man, it just seemed like it was a plot because they couldn't have did that over here, man. They couldn't have did that over here, where her friends, all her friends are. It wouldn't have went down like that, man. They don't realize, what they done done, man. They just robbed, they just put a hole in my heart, man. That was my only child. I'm just heartbroken, man.
The sudden and tragic death of 25-year-old Shanquella Robinson was wrapped in mystery and controversy. Now new information has surfaced indicating that her death was premeditated. It was planned all along. Her family had even criticized the FBI for handling the case poorly. They were afraid that the authorities were not prioritizing this case and not doing enough to catch the suspects. Shanquella's family was somehow comforted by the idea that social media has helped them seek justice for her. Even Shanquella's mom was glad for Black Twitter for making sure that her cries were heard and answered. So what really happened to Shanquella Robinson? How did she die in Mexico? What was the new evidence that authorities found that might help catch the perpetrators? Many people are disturbed and scared to think about this case because it has been over a month since her death and no arrests have been made. There was a video that surfaced on the internet that was believed to be Shanquella being viciously attacked, but still there was no solid evidence to point to the real suspect. Shanquella's family, especially her parents, were thankful for Black social media because they were the reason why her story caught the attention of the press. The authorities in Mexico and the US were also feeling pressure from the people to investigate the case further and put whoever was responsible for Shanquella's death behind bars. They needed to come up with the correct answers to all the questions regarding her death. Before diving into details about Shanquella's tragic death, let's get to know her first and how much she had accomplished in her life. Shanquella Robinson was a successful and popular businesswoman, model, and a social media personality. She was born in 1997 in Charlotte, North Carolina. She worked so hard to achieve all her dreams. At such a young age, she had accomplished so much. She ran several businesses, including a hair braiding business and a women's clothing brand named Exquisite Boutique. She had also made a mark in social media, with over 46,000 followers on Instagram. She also modeled and did photo shoots in Miami, Los Angeles, and Jamaica. Shanquella dreamed big, and she worked even harder to make them all a reality. It was safe to say that she had a shot to make it to the top. Her death was a major shock to her family and the community. No one could seem to grasp the thought that anyone would hurt her, let alone put an end to her life. Her case stood out and gained attention from many people because of her Black Twitter fans. They were the main reason her case did not go cold. They showed their support and love for Shanquella by campaigning for her case day and night so that authorities would not stop investigating until they caught the real culprit. It wasn't enough that Shanquella would just be another hashtag, overused but forgotten. One question still bothered many: why had no one been arrested yet? Shanquella was found dead at a resort in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico on October 29. She arrived the day before along with 6 of her friends, and they checked into a rental luxury apartment at Puerto Los Cabos Resort. For all we know, Shanquella needed this time off from her busy schedule. She must have looked forward to this vacation to relax, unwind, and enjoy life with friends. However, at 2:13 p.m., a doctor from the American Medical Center was sent to their place to respond to a report that someone was feeling sick and unwell. About this time, Shanquella's mother, Salamandra, received a call from one of her daughter's companions. She was informed that Shanquella was so sick and not responding that she needed a doctor to check on her. She was assured that the doctor was on his way and probably her daughter was suffering from alcohol poisoning. This puzzled Salamandra because the doctor had not yet arrived and they were already making a diagnosis. Arrived at the resort in under an hour, and she found a female in stable condition but dehydrated, disoriented, verbally unresponsive, unable to communicate, and appearing to be intoxicated. Shanquella's companions told the doctor that she had drank so much alcohol that the doctor suggested that she be brought into the hospital. The doctor administered an IV drip, but she didn't get better. Her condition got worse and she suffered a tonic-clonic seizure, as well as a sphincter relaxation around 4:13 p.m. An ambulance was called because Shanquella was having trouble breathing and her vital signs were no longer normal. She went into cardiac arrest. When the paramedics arrived, they tried to revive her by administering 14 rounds of CPR and injecting her with 5 doses of adrenaline and 6 electrical discharges from a defibrillator, but they failed to restore her vital signs, and she was declared dead at 5:57 p.m. You would think that this was just another case of a vacation gone wrong, but there were so many questionable circumstances surrounding her death. There were so many things that did not make sense. Why were Shanquella's companions refusing to take her to the hospital? Why did the doctor's statement not match the autopsy report? This was where Shanquella's family became suspicious about their daughter's case. A doctor had said that she found Shanquella alive, but according to the autopsy report, she had suffered from a severe spinal cord injury and dislocation of the neck, which caused her death in 15 minutes after being injured. The Charlotte Observer also discovered that on her death certificate, the box yes was checked, which indicated that the death was accidental or violent. However, the police report did not specify the cause of death. It only said that a 911 call was made to a deceased person who might have suffered cardiopulmonary arrest. But the police report and Shanquella's death certificate did not mention that she had alcohol poisoning. So many things were so confusing about this case, and Shanquella's parents still didn't know who to believe. The authorities from both countries felt the pressure from social media that they needed to be thorough and accurate with their investigation. They should have made progress, and by this time, names of people who were involved or suspected of Shanquella's death. It was not enough that they made a promise to find the culprit. They needed to act and move. A painful and shocking update was made about Shanquella's death. A video surfaced online that was mainly shared among Winston-Salem students. The video was of a naked woman being beaten by someone viciously in a hotel room. Salamandra confirmed that the naked woman was her daughter, Shanquella. It was later found out that at least 2 people were in the room during the altercation. One male was filming the attack while the other was filming the male as he captured the event. A male voice could be heard in the background urging Shanquella to fight back, but she refused to do so. Shanquella never fought back as she received blow after blow. Her neck was yanked and her head was kicked until she staggered to the other side of the room. This video caused outrage, and more people were fighting for Shanquella to receive justice. Many were left speechless after seeing the video. Why were they filming this brutal attack? Why did no one have the sense to stop the fight? Why did they even post it online? Another video was obtained where Shanquella was sleeping in a hammock and her male best friend for 5 years was heard saying, "We got our first dead body. Body, 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 body. She threw 4." And then he laughed. This video was taken just 24 hours after Shanquella's death. This opened further investigation into the possibility that her death was planned and intentional. Black Twitter did not stop pressuring the authorities to find out what really happened with Shanquella and her so-called friends. Everyone was there, yet all 6 were never detained and were just allowed to return to the United States. Bernard Robinson, Shanquella's father, told TMZ that he believed that her death was premeditated. Her daughter was most likely set up by her friends and attacked while she was sleeping. He was heartbroken and hurt upon seeing his daughter in the video, who was defenseless and fighting for her life. He felt sad that he would never walk Shanquella down the aisle or be a grandfather. Bernard's sentiments broke the hearts of many people who watched him. Their experience with their daughter was every parent's worst nightmare. All he wanted was for the authorities to do justice to Shanquella. According to reports, the FBI and Mexican authorities have launched an investigation in Shanquella's hometown of Charlotte, but Shanquella's parents were not happy with the FBI. They claimed that the FBI was so slow with their investigation. They had all the resources and all the names of Shanquella's travel companions, but still, no new updates were made. Both parents wanted the authorities to do more. In Salamandra's social media account, she wrote, "Enough is not being done by the FBI to put the individuals who attacked Shanquella behind bars. I'm just trying to wait for somebody to be arrested. The FBI is not telling anything as of right now. Shanquella's attackers looked me right in the face and told me there was no fight that happened in Cabo, Mexico. I believe they are all on the run." Salamandra believed that her daughter's friends of over 10 years planned the whole thing. The FBI assured her that they were questioning all of Shanquella's friends. Some news outlets had even contacted the U.S. State Department about the case, or if they had anything to say regarding it. They responded, "The Department of State has no higher priority than the safety and security of U.S. citizens overseas. When a U.S. citizen dies in a foreign country, local authorities are responsible for determining the cause of death. The Department of State supports a thorough investigation into the circumstances of this incident and is closely monitoring local authorities' investigation." The Mexican authorities had also announced that an extradition and arrest warrant were being processed and issued. The State Department refused to comment on the extradition process. No one was sure how they would handle this case since extradition could take a long time to process. U.S. officials were careful in determining how to legally arrest and punish those perpetrators. It's possible that the suspected culprits are U.S. citizens who committed a crime against a U.S. citizen in a foreign country. There were some technicalities that they needed to go over to make sure that they were doing the right thing and according to the law. Many people intended to continue campaigning for Shanquella so that authorities would never forget about her case. They were afraid that the moment they quieted down, authorities would stop investigating and eventually close the case. How do you feel about Shanquella's case? Do you think her death was a setup? Do you think the authorities are doing their best to investigate this case? Let me know your thoughts. Stay tuned for more interesting videos. Are you not entertained? If you are, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.